Dear friends, welcome back to my channel Let's Read. Today I have brought a very beautiful and a heart touching story for you. From the timeless collection of Malti Joshi, let's read Kok Kadarp, Pain of Foam, a very heart touching story. Let's begin with the story. Mummy, maid is back here. So, what should I do? Let her come in, I said in an agitated voice. But honestly speaking, for the last 3 4 days, I was eagerly waiting for the maid to come back. Mummy, come and scold her a little, said Amit, and both my kids dragged me towards the angan. My maid was so engrossed in washing the utensils as if she was unaware about her absence for so many days. I also did not want to tease her, but these two brats behind me, they were waiting, and if this time I missed scolding her, then they will keep on teasing me like anything. Listen, maid, I said by making my voice as much stern as I could. In response, she did not say anything. Instead, she started sobbing. I was astonished. That really does my voice has so much power? You have learned to cry a lot, I said by lowering my voice. Bahuji, my daughter Kamli. Kamli? What happened to her? I asked in a frightened voice. A girl of 5 years, such a chubby and bubbly girl she is. Her face was revolving around me. I was getting furious on Amit for asking me to scold her and not giving me the time to ask her for the well-beings and whereabouts. Please tell me what had happened. Bahuji, yesterday her papers were made. Papers were made? I didn't get you. Means Rajkumari has adopted her. Panchayat decided in a meeting yesterday. They only have made the papers. Oh my god. In such a short span I was thinking all kind of dreadful things. Now Kamli's relation with Rajkumari is not a new thing. My maid usually talked about her. Rajkumari is her neighbor and tends to be her sister from a distant relation. She has 2 boys studying in high school. Husband is a peon and does not let her wife work for anywhere. She sits and enjoys like a queen the entire day and spends her leisure time playing with Kamli. My maid has 3 daughters, and out of the 3, Kamli is the only one who always smiles and laughs. The eldest one, Vimli, gets tired throughout the day by keeping the middle-aged girl bubbly in her lap. Her shoulders have leaned forward and she looks much older than her real age. She also helps her mother in other household chores and listens to her abusive words. However, she didn't have much to enjoy in her father's reign. Last year, he also succumbed to Heja, and then, from a permanent form of sadness has settled down on her face. Kamli used to spend her entire day in neighborhood, free from all the worries and problems of her family. Gangabai, you should be happy. Now you don't have to worry about one of your daughters. She will be get to study in a nice school, she will eat nicely and will have a happy life. And she is also not far away. She will remain in front of your eyes and still she lives with them throughout the day. But then the papers were not made in Bahuji, she said and started sobbing. Her argument had a valid point and a strong point too. To play the entire day is a different thing, and to live and permanently with them is a different thing. Out of sadness, she didn't even cook food yesterday. Rajkumari had given feast to everyone, and she had merely gone there to fulfill the obligations. I then prepared a strong sweet tea, handed her some biscuits and namkeen for the kids, and then she settled down a bit. After she left, my kids took me adversely and said, Seriously, Mummy, it is so easy to make a fool of you. This maid brings one or the other reason to fool you, and you simply get convinced for the same? Such a great actress she is. No, she was not acting. I can see her tears. How to tell these kids that she was not acting? Those tears were not fake. When I was young, I saw my mother crying many times. Earlier, she used to cry in front of everyone. But then, my father sternly said few things, and from then, she used to cry silently. I remained sad for the entire day, and in the evening, Meeta prepared some tea for me. She sat beside me, asking me in a loving tone, Mummy, are you missing Sunil Mama? Sunil Mama? What happened to him? Asked Amit in a sudden exaggeration. Nothing has happened to him. You please focus on your comic? Amit made a frown face on getting a scolding from his younger sister. The comic might have been very interesting. That's why he bounced back on reading the comic again. Otherwise, how can he miss such a wonderful opportunity of having a fight with his sister? I had a smile on my face. Both are my kids, but have different levels of sentiments. Boys will be boys. Only girls can understand the sentiments of their mothers. Without saying anything, little Meeta understood everything, while Amit, even on listening everything, didn't understood anything. Flashback memories are from childhood, and only we sisters were a part of mother's sad moments. We used to accompany her like a shadow. Nobody knew, but we came to know that mother had cried that day. She must be remembering Kishu today, and there is no specific reason to miss him. A song, any festival, or on seeing a child, she used to miss Kishu. Same Sheila Bua used to be so much loving and caring whenever she used to visit her. Whenever she visited us, our house used to be full of laughs and gossips. She loved us so much, and she used to shower her love in different forms, like giving us treats of ice cream, toffees, movies, new clothes, etc. In our lives of scarcity, her visits were like soothing days. Then one day, we all came to know that Buaji is wishing to adopt any one of us. This news came to us in the Valley of Dreams. A beautiful bungalow, luxurious cars, servants, new clothes, jewelry, everything seemed too heavenly. But Ma, she became very aggressive those days. She used to say that my kids are not vegetables or fruits, that I can hand them over like this only. Babuji used to scold her and say, Have you gone mad? You have become so much blind in your motherly love that you are not able to see the betterment of your own kids. If you will not give them, they will complete the adoption process from somewhere else. She has her own set of brother-in-law and friend sister-in-law. Anyone will give their child. No one is fool like you. You lose a golden chance in the way of your motherly love, and then only these children will curse you. His continuous pestering made Mummy weak, and she agreed to this adoption. Babuji was so happy that day, his happiness knew no bounds. They were waiting for Ma's acceptance for this adoption process, and then, with her agreement, things were finalized quickly. Bua did not put anyone in dilemma for much days and declared that she will be adopting Kishore, our Kishu. 8-year-old Kishore was very handsome, bright, and beautiful looking boy. He was good in his studies and was also close to Bua. How difficult it is to hand over your heart to someone else. Daughters, when born, are taught that they have to go to some other house. Even today, remembering that scene gives me jitters. It was so much painful than a daughter's vidai. Girls are bound to go, so it is easy for a mother to understand. But when a son changes his name, surname, and everything and goes to some other family, the pain is endless and inconsolable for a mother. Dattak Vidhan, a ceremony was held equivalent to a marriage ceremony, and Bua had given feast to everyone. With their leaving the house, it was so empty and hollow. During night, I told my husband, Listen, that maid of ours, her youngest daughter, has been adopted by her neighbor. She was crying so much. Why was she crying? No one has snatched away her. Everything would have happened with her consent only. But still, it hurts a lot. Are you leave it. She has only been adopted. She is still alive. If their kids die, these people cry for only few days, and then after few months another child is born. Very easily my husband had finished this discussion and went to sleep. He keeps himself away from all these matters. But I couldn't sleep the entire night. Does the number of children help in reducing the pain? If yes, then why was my mother in so much pain? Why she used to cry all night? Babuji used to say, Now it's fine. 2 girls, 2 boys, all set. But Ma, she could never accept this fact. Whenever anyone asked her about how many children she had, Ma used to say 5, on which Babuji used to show her big eyes. Ma used to respond by saying, I have kept him in my womb for 9 months, 7 years on this earth. I have brought him up. How can I forget him? Had it been in his power, Babuji would also have handed me over to Buaji. He once said to her, You can take her also, to which she said with a frowning face, Have I opened a hostel? I felt so much insulted that day. I fought a lot with my mother and asked her, Why did Babuji said this thing? Why are you all always listening to Buaji's taunts? You could have asked for your dear son back. She only came asking us for the favor. But Bua's charisma was on the different level. Even being the elder brother, Babuji could never utter a single word. The truth behind this charisma was revealed in the marriage of Didi when Buaji was discussing with a distant relative, saying, In the entire world, a brother takes bath to his sister's house, and here everything is just opposite. I have prepared jewelry worth rupees 5,000 and saris also. She did not knew that I was present in the room, or might be she neglected and said this on purpose so that I can hear also. I felt something burning inside me on hearing this. Later, I said to my mother, Ma, you swear on my head, you will not take any favor from Buaji in my wedding. I prefer to remain unmarried rather than marrying with her undertakings. In Didi's marriage, we met Kishore after complete 2 years. Initially, after the adoption, Bua used to bring him home every 2 months. But slowly and steadily, this gap increased. Till the time Kishore stayed there, he used to be very silent and under constant monitoring. His arrangements were made separately. We had to call him with his new name, Sunil, which used to prick us like anything. In Didi's marriage, Kishore slept with Fufaji in our neighbor Rai Sahab's house. When the entire family was busy eating the stale food, his plate was filled with eggs and milk. When everyone was relishing the delicacies of wedding, he had to satiate his hunger with cornflakes. Then we also didn't like to eat anything. In the entire wedding, he sat with us in the pangat for one single time, and that time we filled his plate with sweets. The way he was eating sweets conveyed a message that he has changed. In my elder brother's marriage, Fufaji could not come, and this was good up to some extent, as this time Buaji could not ask Kishu to sleep in the neighbor's house all alone. But this time Kishu was not the same. He was an engineering student and such a handsome boy that no one cannot take his eyes off from him. During the entire wedding procession, everyone inquired about him and asked about his hand for marriage. Whosoever met Buaji used to congratulate her on such a wonderful upbringing of her son. On hearing this, Buaji used to boss him around and Ma used to die a bit from inside. She felt as if her motherhood is being insulted. And one fine day, she was murmuring in anger, if the boy turned out to be good, then what's the big deal? When I was carrying him in my womb, I fasted for 11 Ekadashi. Listened to Bhagavad Katha 2 times. He was born with values imbibed within. When we were in Panna, I used to go and visit Jugal Kishorji's temple twice a day. And that's why he is so handsome. And I named him Kishore. And I used to worship Lord Vishnu. That's why he has money and richness around him. And in our time, I think you had worshipped Sudama Charitra. Bade Bhaiya spoke spontaneously, leaving Ma's face white. Poor Bade Bhaiya. He was always anguished on his fate of being poor. Poor thing could barely complete his BA when he had to join the state roadways as a clerk. The dreams of wedding was also shattered as he didn't like the bride a bit. He was getting married because she was getting with her 10,000 rupees as a dowry, which could be used in my marriage. Buaji used to sing her self-worth praise all the time. Oh God, these people will not let us sit calmly. So many times we have asked them to at least let him finish his studies. And they reply to meet the girl once. She bore the pride of being a mother to a son, and this pride used to beat Ma. When this pain was out of control, she used to murmur alone, "She is very proud of herself on being the mother of a son. If such was the case, why didn't she give birth to a son herself?" We used to make her understand, "Ma, when you have given Kishu to her, then why are you saying it again and again and putting yourself in more pain?" To which she would cry and say, "He's not any fruit, he's my child. I had him in my womb for 9 months and I brought him on this land for 7 years. I have all the rights to say this and I will say it 1,000 times." But her saying was only restricted to her near and dear ones. She could never say this in front of Buaji, as they all were under the favors of Buaji, like she helped a lot in the wedding of Didi and Bhaiya. Sunil's leftover clothes were worn by Kumar, and Babuji used to get a new sweater, and the saris, which Buaji didn't like to wear anymore, were handed over to Ma. Had she not been there, our mediocre family would have ended up on a road. In my wedding, I was happy for the fact that I could now buy and wear what I like with my own choice. But Ma could not get out of this cursed life. They do not have a proper life in the old age. Bade Bhaiya is working as a clerk with a meager in-hand salary and also pays for Kumar's studies. He has his own family, and how much can he give and from where? Whenever I visit this place, on seeing the tarnished structure of the house, I feel very bad. Mother of 3 sons is alone and working on her own. Babuji's eyes are also giving up and his vision is getting blurred day by day. He gets pension and sits at home and has become more irritable now. The happiness with which I go home, I come back with same sadness and grief. Last year, in the month of August, Kishore came to visit me and stayed there for a day and said, "I'm going to Delhi, to Madras. This route is near your house, so thought of celebrating Rakhi with you. It has been years since we celebrated it together." I was so happy. Immediately ran towards the market, bought some sweets, Rakhi, clothes for his kids and lots of toys. He sat on the wooden patla and tied the Rakhi. Afterwards, he kept 100 rupees in the place. Happiness and sadness both engulfed me at the same time. Bade Bhaiya gave me 10 rupees every time, and it becomes so difficult to accept it, as I know with this 10 rupees he can buy vegetable for 3 days for his family. I picked up the note and put it back in his pocket and said, "Kishu, I don't really need this money. If possible, can you give me what I ask for?" "Yes, Didi, please ask." "Take Ma and Babuji with you. They need a change. Babuji's vision is also going. He needs proper treatment. If possible, get it operated." He was silent for some time and then he said, "If you say, I will send them the money. But please, don't ask me to take them with me. It would not be possible. Daddy has to undergo an operation of hernia, which has already been delayed due to my tour. And maybe for this entire winter he will be staying with me, as he is not able to bear the chilled winters of UP. And you know, Daddy and Babuji don't bind together." "Tuning? What about tuning? They gave birth to you. Babuji will visit your home, not there. Does this willingness is everything? After all, Ma and Babuji also have some right on you." "Didi, does giving birth is everything?" he asked aggrievedly. "Why didn't anyone realize this when they were when they were tearing me apart from my family and giving away to someone else? Those people who didn't let me live in my own house without any right do not hold any right to say anything. Everyone had surrendered in front of Babuji. You don't know how much Ma has suffered and how much she had cried. Ma could at least cry, Didi. I was not allowed for that also. You all were there with Ma, but I was all alone, stranded alone in a complete strange environment where everyone was ready to criticize me and my poverty. Everyone was like an enemy over there. I had to study hard, as that no one gets a chance to mock at my poor background. Everything was done for your betterment, Krishu. Babuji could never arrange for all those luxuries. Now, now the betterment is done. I have to stay at that level. But why to complain now, Didi? For an 8-year-old kid, car, bungalow, clothes, etc. do not matter. What matters the most is his mother's love, his siblings' love, a safe space of his house, and the childhood spent without these is so dreadful. I was so shocked on hearing this. And it was right. We never thought it from Kishu's point of view. We only saw our pain as big and never imagined what Kishu had to go through. While leaving, he tied 100 rupees in my lap and said, "Please don't worry, Didi. I will call them as per convenience. You also come and visit Madras with children." This incident was over a year back. Ma and Babuji are still living in their tattered home. I know he will not take them with him as he is afraid of Suvarna, his wife. Daddy is simply a reason. She gets angry on the name of Babuji. After Kishu's marriage, on much pleasantry from Ma and Buaji was ready to bring her son and daughter-in-law home. Daughter-in-law's short hair, big nails, sleeveless blouse and high heels made Babuji very angry. His anger reached on the top when he heard her calling her husband with his name. While narrating this incident, Ma said, "Oh, she is their daughter-in-law. And if they are not minding it, then why are you burning your blood? She is not going to come here every month." I was astonished on how Ma had swept Suvarna away from her judicial area, the one for whom she used to cry so much. A month would have passed when Nita came running and said, "Mummy, just look outside the window." I saw my maid running towards our house with her daughter Kamli in her hand. She was panting heavily. "How come she is with you?" "Now she will stay with me, Bahuji." "What does this mean?" "I got my daughter back, Bahuji." "But why? Have you asked her brother-in-laws for the same? They were the only one who forced you for this." "She will stay with me only. She will eat what we will eat, and she will wear whatever we can afford. For the last 3-4 days I am seeing that they have started beating her since morning. I have not given my daughter for beating." "And what about the papers?" "Papers? No papers. I will take care of everything myself." Her anguished face made me remember my mother. Dear friends, this was end of the story. Please stay tuned for another such stories. Do not forget to show your love by like, sharing and subscribing to the channel. Thank you.